Quartz kyber, high in fiber, thermal exhaust port to your colon.
The strongest stars have hearts of kyber.
With MakingStarWars.net.
Hey YouTube. Hey YouTube. I'm just a word from MakingStarWars.net. Hey YouTube. That's Rob's wrong over there. How's it going, Rob's wrong?
Always wrong.
Yeah, so today it was crunch time. I didn't get to say hi to Rob before the show. I was just like, here, Rob, see you there, bud. Not gonna stay up for Andor. See you there. Guess you're not one of the guys now.
One of the guys.
But come on, man. I mean, this is like the time when like Mon Mothma's gonna start her path to legalize it. You know, Mon Mothma, man.
I need my
She's gonna
sleep,
do it.
Jason.
She's gonna do it, man.
I need order. I need order in this galaxy.
That's what Mon Mothma's fighting for, is your ability to sleep. Thanks to her space beast.
Well, she can do it while I'm asleep.
That's fair.
If she really believes in her value, she'll do it while I'm catching disease.
Did you see the GTA 6 kid who did the hack is like 16? The little Billy the Kid.
You know, it's a bunch of things with that, right? And I know we got Star Wars stuff, but I'll make this quick. As a cat who's worked in AAA game development, it does break my heart when shit gets leaked. I know we all like it ever since Quarterman back in EGM. We've all liked those rumors, and I don't know, Jason. We do a spoiler show here, so. But as you know, when like previs footage leaks on Star Wars or something, people think that's the final fucking frame of the show that's ready to ship. You know,
Are
like,
people thinking that about this stuff? Because that would be dumb.
Yeah,
Even my 8-year-old knows that.
They are, bro. They are, and you know.
Well,
so
we're
there's
playing a
that.
video game when it has all these numbers and stuff on the screen. I can't even see the game.
And there's also a chance, sadly, when this stuff leaks, that publishers go, well, now it's canceled. Like, when a publisher is that big, they can do that. Smaller publishers, whatever. Now, Rockstar has said they won't, you know, because I guess that footage is from 2019. So, like, they're way into it now.
For what it's worth, when I looked at the footage and put it into my onto my device, the videos were all dated, specifically dated over the last 2 years, with some of them being as new as this week.
Okay, so you got me there. I was wrong. So.
No. I could definitely see the corporation going, some of this shit's from 2 years ago, old hat, because some of it is, but
right,
some of it like is literally.
But what I'm trying to say wasn't to reflect the quality. It was just to say that, well, they're in it now, so like I don't see them trashing 2 years of development because the real shame. Now I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk to you about I'm going to talk to you as a fan. It's great to see some new characters and that they're actually making it. The real sad part, or the troubling part, is that the dude grabbed the source code for that build, the 2019 build, and the source code for GTA Online, which is outright theft. And Jason, you remember back in the day, some dude stole the Incredible Hulk movie, or the Hulk movie from 2003.
I do
put that on the internet. That dude's serving more time than the January 6th. Traitors.
That's starting to change, thankfully, though. The last couple of ones have got like over 10 years. So we're getting into a better place with that stuff. But yeah, point taken. Yeah, I remember Wolverine. I think the Mangold one leaked.
Yeah, the Mangold. This actually is more like, though, when Half-Life 2 leaked. Remember, like, some weird, crazy build of it, like, got dumped on the internet back in 2004.
Right.
And what was crazy is that kid, he tried to do the move. You know this move, Jason. You know it well. He tried to do the move where he was like, hey, hire me as security and I'll show you how. Not that you've ever done that, but you understand that move, right?
I applied for the security job at Lucasfilm though.
That would be something to do. Yes.
Yeah. I applied, like, you know.
But when you pull a Mission Impossible on Rockstar,
I don't think they appreciate when your resume is like finding out all your secrets.
He did that, and that's how that, and they agreed. Steam, Valve agreed, and said, yeah, come on, and then that's how they got him.
Yeah,
like they were talking with him and shit. Like that was crazy. So, but yeah, so like I said, I'm a mixed. Like, we've all known they're working. Thank God they're working on a freaking single player GTA game, because like ever since that GTA Online launched, they were like, "Hey man, it's making $1 billion a month, so can't make a new game." I'm like, you can just leave that one up. Those people aren't these people. I love the GTA, man. It's because it's funny.
Keep making stuff, Rockstar.
GTA has great humor, I would say, in the Matt and Trey kind of like category of humor. Like they're really good with that.
It's A+ satire across the board. It's not dumb. So, but it is ironic because the satire gets taken seriously by some kids that are high consumers, and then they spend $100 a month of their parents' money on shark cards, making exactly the thing that is making fun of true. But I don't care. That's no problem. I just want to rob liquor stores and not have any consequences or anybody hurt.
My two favorite things in the world, Jason, storytelling wise, are heists and treasure.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, your favorite things are boobs. Like you told me that like 10 times. My favorite things are boobs, and I was like, yeah. Why are you telling me that again?
In storytelling, I preface.
Oh, storytelling.
Don't boobs blame me, buddy. Let me finish what I'm going to say first. But like, so GTA manages the heists. And Uncharted gives me the treasure hunts, and Dragon Quest gives me both usually. So like that's the kind of thing I like. And if you add humor in there, my friend, you know, like that's my stuff. So as a fan, man, like I'm just glad they're working on it and that it's not canceled.
I like that. I saw stuff from like Vice City and what's the other one, Los Santos. Like it looks like it's gonna be the whole. It's gonna take place in Vice City, but it's going to take you all over the world of Liberty City stuff and all that stuff. So that's rad. I'm into it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love Vice City. And I do wish though that the final rendering, whatever render style they choose to do in the final, a part of me has always wished it looked like the way they do that painted covers on the GTA games and make they're not vectory, they're painted, but and it's not cell shaded. It's more like Arcane, I guess, would be some kind of way. Like
but you could probably do some kind of cell shading to bring that aesthetic.
It would have to be like a hand painted feel, because it has like that painted feel to that, you know. So like I do wish we'd get some of that, but whatever, dude. It looked dope, man. So yeah, I do think though, like when you see the footage, if any of you guys see the footage, like when I see in-engine stuff, it makes me laugh when folks on YouTube are like, "Hey man, AI, you'll just be able to type in and get a whole game." No, you're not. Like, I wish that were like a computer, a hologram, make me a holodeck, make me a whole Star Wars thing I can run. Like
when you look at like basically, if you were to do it with a Star Wars movie, you would just end up with the expanded universe with the lowest common denominator of what every idiot is saying should happen or will happen. And it will just be the most predictably boring piece of shit ever for the most part. So I'm not holding my breath for that to be a thing that's really going to go anywhere. But so Arya says Rockstar made a statement. See, I haven't actually seen the statement yet. That's too busy.
I appreciate, you know, inside info and all the stuff that we do here. What I do not appreciate or condone is people stealing shit to get it out. Like that is ridiculous.
Like that is like the guy I saw later on that if the person was like basically doing extortion, being like, if they pay me, I'll stop or something like that. And I think that's kind of a big difference. Or a line. Extortion's a line.
If the kid was a smart grifter, he would tag on the whole, and I found info about the aliens. There was UAP information on the Rockstar servers, you know, like
turns out Rockstar is working on crash materials in their Rockstar lab. But yeah, man, I'm having like a bad allergy attack. Woke up with my eyes swollen today. Like that happens if I'm sleeping when it comes on. It's like my eye looks like I got punched. So I'll probably have to go back to my shades pretty soon if it keeps up. Oh, it's George Lucas, diabetic George Lucas.
Yeah. I just wanted everyone to know. One time, Jet thought it'd be funny to hack into my computer, and all he got was the script to episode 1, and then he apologized for having read it. Yeah.
He apologized to the family for you.
It was just scans. Yeah, well, it was scans of my yellow pads, and he had to read all the dialogue that wasn't fit enough for the movie. So that was tough. He learned his lesson.
Aggressively relaxing says, I don't know why anyone would even look at this. I'll just wait for Rockstar and every other game studio to sell me their unfinished game. That's a pretty good point.
That's a good quote.
That is a very good quote.
That's a good quote. But fair to Rockstar, man. Like those games, open world games, are so fucking difficult. I give them a leniency for whether shit works 100% at launch, because it is impossible to like make every system work. They just have to be in it to fix it. They generally ship very stable product though, and if people think like I remember, man, like my favorite game that shipped that was broke at launch was Donkey Kong 64. Mm-hmm. It literally wouldn't run. So they patched it, but they couldn't put it in the game. So instead the patch was in the RAM expansion pack. And they had to fucking give the RAM expansion pack for the Nintendo 64 away for free with every copy of the 64, because eventually the game would break and it needed that. That was their trick. And I guarantee you, back in the 90s, if they had a way of patching their games and shipping stuff a little early and broken, they would have taken that too. Like, this is just, it's a catch-22. I recommend, I like that companies can iterate and improve upon those things as they go, but as we all know, the abuse is like, oh, it's totally fucking broke. This is like an alpha. You're playing an alpha. Well, I don't want to play an alpha, man. Like, it has to be a semblance of the original product and not delete. The worst is when they wait like a year to give you an update and they're like, oh, if you use the update, delete your save. Like, what are you fucking doing? That is the worst, man.
As it just says, I didn't know what to do with myself yesterday. It's so disappointing knowing how they reveal it don't be the same and people think it looks bad or unfinished. Yeah, that right there is that's always been something that is just always usually boggles my mind about how people who can follow leaks and things like that don't understand the basic fundamentals of the like movie making. Concept art versus fucking the movie, like all kinds of stuff. But also it's important to remember that sometimes every time that we see a really dumb comment, it might be someone's first leak, so to speak. I don't really get how that works. Yeah, I know, right?
Everyone remembers their first leak, right?
First leak. I remember my first squirt, but
I remember my first can of squirt, legitimately. I don't know why I do. 1983 or 4. But yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Ironic. This is not even a joke. I equate the drink squirt with puberty because I literally was drinking squirt during puberty. That shit was good, man. But yeah, no, it's sort of like we talked about on the show before, like media literacy it's a thing. And it's kind of crazy how some people just are not on the level, but hopefully they get there. That's all. I mean, like I have an 8-year-old and we watched all of the videos together, all of the leaked Rockstar videos from it. And my son completely understands through and through. My kid's kind of a little bit weird. Like, he likes bugs. He likes watching like games that he loves, bugging out videos and stuff. Like, it's like a thing that he does. But at the same time, he understands that it, like, when he sees data on screen and like tools and pull downs, that he's not watching the game. You know what I mean? It's very strange that anybody would think that. But my thing, I guess, like, I understand people being really annoyed with Rockstar for not putting a game out for so long. But I at the same time don't think that like warrants necessarily like fuck them. Like them selling me actual broken games and stuff like that would warrant a fuck them. So in terms of corporations or companies to like hack and hit, they wouldn't make the top 100 for me about what someone with those powers could be doing. But I also would not be surprised if they just hacked a developer's iCloud to some extent, and then we're able to like follow a stream through there of getting the videos off of their phone. Like I said, the videos were all dated, and then after that, but they did get the build, so I guess they did have access to their computer.
Well, Ubisoft had like their own little, Nintendo Ubisoft Direct. No one cared. But there was some good stuff in there, but there was like 15 Assassin's Creed games. And I'm like, there's a lot of Assassin's Creed games. And I'm glad that Rockstar doesn't do that with their titles. I one a year is too much for me. But like when you got like 5 coming out in the next year, 4 or 5, it's like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Invent something new at that point, Seriously. Like, yeah. It's pointless.
So there's been the old rumors. The old rumor mill is going to a town, not slowing down. Here it is right here. So I talked to our old buddy Ahsoka.
Did someone say
no.
going to town? I'm coming to town.
No. Our buddy Star Wars Santa has a Santa channel called Coming to Town, and that's not a joke.
Yep.
It really is called that.
Nope. Don't you know what, Jason? I'm coming to January 7th. That's what we're on.
All right.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Everybody's gonna get really mad because they're like, we want to hear what you have to say on this.
I don't care. Sorry.
Ahsoka's had heard something when they were getting all of that information that they released before they bounced, and we were talking, and they let me know that they said here's something from Making Star Wars, that Ray Stevenson from Ahsoka will be in Mando 3, and then he kills Wolf in season 3 of The Mandalorian, and he carries a spiked gauntlet, and has Imperial Mandalorian foot soldiers, and speculates that the Red Praetorians may be under his command. So
the Raytorians,
yeah. So and then Arya says, isn't this the same exact BS rumor from Reddit? But once again, Ahsoka is hearing this, so you can take that to mean it's true, or you could take that to mean maybe some of the Ahsoka stuff isn't as stable as we would like, as we would hope for. I don't know. I'm just telling you guys exactly what they said, and I have nothing on it. I have no deeper thing to add to it. You know what I mean? It's like
Ahsoka's Elizondo to you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh shit. Rob's wrong. Rob's wrong. Woo, 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 Rob's wrong. There we go. So
Rob's wrong. Bespin's the best. He's not really English, even though I made fun of him for being English. Yay. Yeah. Woo, woo. All right, whatever.
They're all a bunch of fancy lads to us. I don't know. I think he comes from the land of willows, brownies, and Elora Danons. That's what I know about that part of the world. But
Willow thinks. My brain's all combobulated. I'm not gonna lie, man. There was a time in the early 90s I used to get what's that dude who played the brownie? I used to get him and George Costanza mixed up. Like for the longest.
Yeah.
The dude was in that actor, forget his name. He was in Few Good Men, right? So
okay.
Yeah.
Let's call him George Costanza. But Yeah, but anyways, like I said, that's what Ahsoka's had heard, and I'm just telling you, they told me that's what they also heard. So, what are you gonna do with that in your brains? Am I supposed to tell everybody what to do with the information in their brains? I don't know. I don't know if that's my job or not. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm not doing my job. Maybe I'm not doing my editorial job by like by holding it back. At the same time, if somebody had heard a lot of stuff on a show that we think we know a lot about, and then they also heard this and it's in the same info, do we then present that? Because it's not my scoop. You know what I mean? It's not my stuff. You know what I mean? So wasn't Tross leak that turned out to be true also BS from Reddit? Oh, that's a really hard one to like put because basically for the Rise of Skywalker, there were like leakers, there were people in production who were telling like some people on Reddit like bullet points, were giving me like deep in-depth stuff because I actually asked questions, not just like what's next and then what's next and then what happens, then what's next, and then with no context.
That's me, guys. That's how I sound like off the camera. I really talk that way. This is an internet YouTube voice.
But then I would go
yeah, that's what I do. Sorry.
And then Bestman says they've been peddling scoops from other people. You know.
Wow, Bestman.
Yeah, and
getting a little American Psycho on those dudes.
Oh shit! No, yeah. And then there's like all these rumors going around about Thrawn that they have also heard, and it's like I don't know. All of it like this is where I kind of like fall in where I'm like, we do a daily show here. Do we cover the daily rumor du jour, or do we like on Making Star Wars when I was more like into that to writing on the website instead of doing the show? I had an editorial slant where I was just like, no, you know what? I'm not going to cover anything that I don't like that I don't like endorse. So like I'd cover like Bespin Bulletin and me. That's it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Your site pays the bills or your bills, so you should be writing on that, right? Like
YouTube. Fuck that shit. Fuck bills. YouTube. Fuck everything. I think the world's gonna end.
You got to be rich to say that, you know?
Yeah, I'm not rich.
You don't have to pay your bills when you're rich.
Yeah. It's the same rumor that had black drinkers in it from Leaker 4. Okay. So, yeah. So, what do you make of that? This is was a list of the dark side Yodas and the unknown region shit, says Arya. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think much of that has panned out to meaning very much, has it?
You know, I'm reminded of something you said once on the UFO show. You're like, you know, people show up and they have legitimate inside info, but there comes a point where they run out, and then what do? You know, or it doesn't flow in as frequently as they would like. Then what do? And I suspect we're seeing this right now. You know, 50-50. Jason. I think Jason froze. Did I freeze or did Jason freeze? I think Jason froze. See? Mr. Freeze. Hey, Jason, you need to chill. So yeah, I'm not staying up late to watch Andor, even though I've been looking forward to the show for a long. I stay up late for no TV show now. I'll watch it when I wake up. Like, I don't care. You know, you all should wait till the morning too, but you won't. There we go.
I just wanted everybody to know, you know, what it would be like if I wasn't here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would just leave. I make the jokes I do on my own. I don't need an audience. Really, they're for me. So talking to these people about, I don't know all these crazy lore. Like when you're like, oh, in the 8th protocol of the Mandalorian scrolls in episode 29 of fucking lore. I don't care.
I hate it, and you defend it when they're like, here we are, brother.
No, I like that they have a code
and drink your own piss. Then
I like that they have a code
on the extension of the ancients. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
What I don't like is when fans tell me something's not possible because there's a code in some Marvel comic. I'm like, no, it's possible when they write the shit. That's the thing I can't.
Remember when the Marvel comics used to give codes so you could own the digital copy too? That's when I used to buy their shit. Now I don't buy any of it. Big mistake. Marvel, greedy.
Yeah, I tried that in 2009 with the Star Trek movie, and the code didn't work. And I was like, "Fuck digital codes!" Like,
oh, Rob, you just don't know the difference between a 0 and a no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Rob. Don't get mad, Rob.
My wife would agree.
Wrong hole, Rob. Aria says, I just think that 2 folks got lucky and knew a guy that worked at a Swedish subtitle company that so happened to add subtitles for Tales of the Jedi and now act like the top dog. That's an interesting theory. We will see when we get to Acolyte Country
next year.
Yeah,
sometime next year. The Ray Stevenson thing will happen first, right?
Well,
the Ahsoka stuff, based on what you told me, I believe. I'm sorry, the Acolyte stuff. I believe that stuff was real. Mm-hmm. The Tales of the Jedi stuff we saw, that was real. Everything after they quit, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the concept art for Acolyte, pretty damn convincing. Looked pretty fucking real to me. There was even stuff about it where it would have like the Acolyte logo was minimalist yet designed in ways that if you were using like an AI generator and then putting stuff on, I just don't think that would have been faked at that level, to be honest with you guys.
AI generators still can't do text, Jason, as you
no, but you could AI generate and then add the UI on top of it, like fake that, and you know what I mean.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
the imagery. Yeah. That's not an AI generated image.
No, it's not. But yeah. So that was like a thing, and then so tomorrow is official Glup Shido Day. Glup Shido will be back. No, I'm kidding. I don't think there's going to be a bunch of cameos in Andor, but tomorrow night is Andor, and I am staying up with my good friend Max and probably James.
She returns.
I don't know. I think Max is coming tomorrow, and then I think James is. I haven't even talked to James. I'm just assuming that James will be here tomorrow night. But I think James is one of those fans that has been like, I want big boy Star Wars. I want Star Wars for the big boys. And I think he's unlike the last stuff. I think he's going to be happy.
I want big boy Star Wars.
You want big boy Star Wars.
Look, man, you have to understand. Bob's Big Boy was my jam as a kid, right?
Oh,
I had everything. I had the water. I had the chili spaghetti. You know what I'm saying? Like they had that. Remember the wavy cups? The cups had like ridges in them.
Oh yeah,
shit. I remember it all, bro. I loved it. I helped my mom steal a shitload of salt and pepper shakers to go hawk at the pawn shop. I'm not proud of it, but I helped my mom commit that. Some had to pay for that meal.
So. Well, when I have a memory of being at Bob's Big Boy, other than the other time when I sat next to Dave Filoni and the guy who plays Maul, and they were talking about the future of Star Wars together right next to me. I wasn't even trying to listen. They just went shut. They were fucking loud. My mom handed me a thing of butter and said, Jason, do you want some vanilla ice cream? And I was like, hell yeah. It was like whipped butter.
That is so cruel.
Yeah.
That is so cruel.
Yeah. That bitch. All right. So there's a new article from rollingstone.com the place where there used to be rock and roll stories, and now they cover Star Wars and politics. Well, they cover it well, but it's all they're really good for now, because the music industry cut off its own dick, shoved it down its mouth, choked on it, and died. So inside the making of
to
Andor,
be fair, it was a challenge on TikTok, and it had
yeah, it was the dick bucket challenge. How many dicks can you choke on until you die? Inside the making of Andor, the Star Wars series that changes everything, showrunner Tony Gilroy, the Tone Dog, and stars Diego Luna and Genevieve O'Reilly tell us why the latest Disney Plus show paves new ground for the saga. Really quickly, I'm just gonna say, if this show doesn't fucking rock, this is going to be like the biggest self-suck in the history of Star Wars, because every single thing they say is like a pat on the back about why they fucking rock and about why everything sucks compared to what they're doing. And I do have faith in them, but fuck, if they don't fucking hit this out of the park, there's going to be some funny fucking quotes. There's going to be a lot of funny memes that are going to come out of this era of pre-show, Star Wars pre-show. But I do think it is going to connect, because why wouldn't it?
A lot of leaks on the show today, Jason.
Are you fucking kidding me? No,
You've been paywalled.
I'm gonna try to log into their stupid story. It was when I first put it on, it was totally fine, and it was letting me read it, and then now it's not. Yeah, you know what? We're not going to show your dumb thing. I might have it open on here. Let me see if they did any kind of fancy fucking trickery. Because
many people really subscribe to RollingStone.com? Like, well, what are those numbers? I'm just curious.
I don't know. Just fucking put a fucking ad up for some dick pills or something, and take that money and let me read the fucking article.
The last time I read Rolling Stone was when Batman Returns came out, because the cover had like a reverse shot of the cowl with the cape, right? And I thought that just looked so cool. And I talked my cousin Ricky into him demanding his mother buy it for him, because I was too afraid to ask. And he's one of those kids who would always be like, "You're gonna buy that shit for me, Mom!" Like literally use the S word, and she'd buy it. Yeah. And I read it. Wasn't a great article. So I was like, "This Rolling Stone ain't for Rob."
Their coverage of Donald Trump, fucking pretty good. Anyways, for a sense of what
they've gotten better since '92.
Well, because I think they had good. They think they have good staff. They just don't really cover any good music, because they will only cover fucking Lady Gaga level shit instead of like real music. I don't mean that she's not real music, but she doesn't need a fucking coverage, and that's one of the reasons why the music industry is dead. For a sense of what makes the ambitious new Disney Plus series Andor different from just about everything else Star Wars in the ever-expanding Star Wars universe, consider this. There will be no Jedi appearing on the show's 2 allotted seasons. But in the first episode, there is a scene set in a brothel. A first in the live-action history of the oft-sexless saga. Uh-oh.
Big boy brothel. It's called Big Boys.
I hope Andor gets he's like, "Here's $75. Now spank me. Tell me I'm a bad boy. Tell me I'm a bad rebel." All right. For showrunner Tony Gilroy, who wrote and directed 2007's classic legal thriller Michael Clayton, and wrote the Bourne movies, throwing a tasteful acknowledgement of the existence of sex work into the same galaxy that spawned Jar Jar Binks, Ewoks, and Grogu, was a test of sorts for the Lucasfilm Disney empire. Quote, "It sure is a good tell when you turn in that first episode for them to say, 'Whoa, okay, this is what the show's gonna be like,'" says Gilroy. "It was a marker, but it's also good for the story. It served double duty." Double duty. He said duty. Are you sure we're fucking ready for any kind of grown-up Star Wars? Because he just said double duty. George Lucas's Underworld series was supposed to have sex workers as main characters and stuff like that. And I'm kind of curious to go into an alternate reality and see how that would have aged. George Lucas handling that like in 2007, I could see it already being like not working on Twitter. Anyways, in the series, which is the best 3-episode.
Hold on, Jason.
Oh, hey,
All I
George.
gotta say is, I know a thing or two about brothels. I'm not gonna brag, but
yeah, you were in the Heidi Fleiss book, George. We saw your name in there.
I mean, I don't mean to brag, but
yeah,
I've been known to peruse and.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you made all that money if it wasn't to get
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the Powers of the Force collection was specifically put out to pay off a tab I had.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't have time to sculpt the chests properly. Like just
I think you were under Diaper Daddy was your name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I like to dress in the Rancor trainer outfit, and that's my jam.
Darth Bink says, any excitement for the Tell show? Dooku may kill Yaddle. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Well,
Don't anybody tell Binks. Don't anybody tell Binks about what's out there. I'm busting
2 frogs.
Busting your balls, Jaja.
You can't wait. All right, well, I gotta go eat some chili spaghetti. Peace.
You're diabetic. In the series, which has its 3-episode premiere, September 21st. Wouldn't it be cool if his name was San Diego Luna? All right, San Diego Luna reprises his role. He's just like, yeah.
It would be cool if my name was the whale's vagina, Luna.
Yeah, that would be cool
to make it movie accurate. Like, all right, buddy.
I really like the way that whale's vagina got into the role. Diego Luna reprises his role as the dashing, occasionally murderous rebel Cassian Andor, who was introduced in Rogue One. Blah blah blah. We all know the shit. We know this shit. The larger aim of Andor is to show the birth of the rebellion against the Empire, a revolt that barely exists when the show's narrative begins. It's the winds of war, really, Gilroy says, referring to the vintage book and TV miniseries about the earliest days of World War II that kept him a virgin until he was 45 because he saw and actively quotes it whenever he can. Okay, I added that last part.
Hey.
I mean, come on.
Sounds familiar.
When you say winds of war, I mean, trust me, we can smell our own kind. War is coming. The stories, the war is coming. Santa's coming too. The down. The stories and characters.
All I have now is Winds of Change stuck in my head. Fucking thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking Scorpion song?
Park, listen to the winds of change.
Wait, is that the Scorpion song where like he whistles?
Yeah, that's where they tried to use
whistle.
it to defeat communism.
They did. Oh, they did.
Yeah.
The Scorpions took the wall down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Pink Floyd's the wall too. You couldn't buy it for like 6 months after that. This is the most grounded that Star Wars will get, says Luna. We are stressing that change and revolution happen when regular people decide to do something. It's just regular people trying to survive the darkest time. Blah, blah, blah. It's about a system that is choking society. Also in the brothel, people also being choked if that's what they're into. Not kink shaming. We are encouraging it for a fee, a nominal fee.
It's like Stardog DRM. You know what I mean? Just totally unnecessary.
Or I mean, maybe you want a guy dressed as Zardoz just to watch you do some stuff with somebody. Maybe that's what you want to pay for. We're not shaming you. Remember Zardoz? Remember that outfit he had? Yeah, it's like that fucking like underwear, fucking red underwear.
Yeah, I can't forget it, bro. Like every wrestler from the 80s stole that look, like every tag team wrestling fucking team. Like, let's go there.
That's Indiana Jones' dad. Okay, and again, it's definitely not about Jedi. That's a pretty heavily digested topic, says Gilroy. If you think about it, most of the beings in the galaxy are not aware of Jedi and have never seen a lightsaber. That topic and the Star Wars royal family have been chewed on for a long time. It's like there's a restaurant and we're in the kitchen. This is what's going on underneath the other stuff. Which, by the way, can the fucking queen fucking get dropped in the goddamn hole already? I couldn't sleep last night. I go to put on some news so I could go to sleep, and they're fucking still fucking covering that bullshit at 4 a.m. Stop.
Also, I'm guessing Gilray didn't hear how the whole Luke wouldn't know put a lightsaber, and then everyone were like, but he would know because of Jedi. Like, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know about that. Like, I do think at the tail end of the Clone Wars, everyone knows what the Jedi are. Like, I don't know if I agree with that statement. You know, when by the time of Empire or New Hope, I get it, but
yeah. Well,
sorry.
I mean, I don't know. It's like, yeah, over 20 years, you have diminishing returns on whether they are a thing or not. So I feel like as the timeline goes on, they become less real, sort of like House of Dragons or Game of Thrones. How like as time, everybody knows there's dragons, but as time goes on, by the time you get to the Game of Thrones stuff, they're like, those aren't even real. Like,
see, the only way for the galaxy to always remember about the Jedi is if they had directed The Last Jedi. Then they never fucking forget them, right? Like,
yeah,
they'd be angry about that shit for 50 years, but
right. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, yeah. But when we have different creators, they are going to have different philosophies. You know what I mean about that. So early on, we learned that Cassian is a refugee from the indigenous population of a planet exploited for its natural resources by the Empire. And once again, I'm so glad that we don't have to treat these nothing parts about backstory as if it is like the heaviest spoiler. I'm glad that they're actually discussing this fucking series for once. So good work, Lucasfilm, for doing it right for the first time and forever, and Rolling Stone for actually covering it correctly. So for Gilroy,
Jason, maybe they learned their lessons with hiding the Vespa gang too much. You know, let's not let this blow out of proportion. Like,
no. Yeah. How's it going, Quentin? Quentin Time Podcast, great show, by the way. If you guys need a really smart man who just has a good conversation, definitely check it out. And then seeing Jedi is one thing, but hearing about Jedi, that's something else. Hard to believe people wouldn't hear about the Jedi or know what they are at all. Yeah, I mean, we've already, I think we've like moved beyond that conceptually, in the sense that Inquisitors come to town like Santa, and they're like, "Do you know who we are?" And they're like, "Yeah, guys, Jedi." Oh, actually, they're not themselves. And so
I love that they're influencers in Larry, because that's exactly how those fuckers act. If you've ever seen an influencer show up, you ever been to LA, Jason, and you've seen like an influencer show up to a party?
You hear that?
It's fucking horrible.
I have an allergy attack. Dude, I'm not even kidding, man. I had a few minutes at D23 where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was in the media line, which is just great. Like I got to get into a media line that let me get into the thing, and I'm like grateful for that and for the opportunity from Disney. But as I was there, I was watching people like myself who could barely pay for Taco Bell take out their phones, act cool, do duck faces, take things, sell a narrative to their audience. And it's like, this sucks. Like, we're sitting on the floor in a convention center, not really making any money on this. And these people are selling like this fucking thing to people. And I'm like, you guys suck. Fake pieces of shit. What's going on in Colorado?
Oh, Quentin's saying that it's a big galaxy. I don't know shit about what's going on in Colorado. So, and I'm like, yeah, but like, let's make a more apt fucking description. I couldn't probably name one Confederate soldier, but even though that shit happened like 100 years ago plus, right? You know of the Confederacy. The Jedi are a group of people. You know they were in a war that was galaxy spanning that led to this empire that you're all living under. Like, you've heard of Stalin. You know what I mean? You've heard of these things. The Gestapo, you've heard of that. Name me one Gestapo. You couldn't, but you've heard of that. So,
but
I love this show and everything about it. I don't completely agree with this, but all right, that's fine. you know.
Well, I mean, I think you could almost look at it like Russia, who some people in Russia think that they are fighting Nazis in Ukraine, which is batshit crazy. But it does go to show you how if you control, what educates people, if you control the media, you control the textbooks, all that kind of shit, you can make people believe anything. And so some of these people probably believe that. The people like in the outer rim of Tatooine, they probably aren't getting it. The influence of the Empire probably sort of radiates outward from Coruscant, is the way I would look at it. If we wanted to give like almost like a political theory of how information would disseminate and its power. So by the time you get to the outer rim areas, that's where you start to have things can be contested more. There's not a stormtrooper waiting around the corner to slit your throat. You say the wrong thing, but as you move more into the core worlds, you're probably gonna have people that are believing some just batshit Palpatine stuff. You know what I mean? I think that makes complete sense. The world kind of works that way. You know what I mean? If you look at churches and you look at colleges, it kind of how it goes. I mean, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Gilroy changes Rob's mind. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old, says Luna. At least that's that. Meanwhile, links the origin story of his Mexican heritage. I come from a country. Wait, hold on. I'm getting like the ads doing that thing that moves everything around. Let me see if I can close that. Fuck you, Showtime ad. Where did it go? Oh yeah, the origin story to his Mexican heritage. I come from a country that has the longest border with the states. He says, we are the connection for good and bad of a whole continent with richness, power, opportunity. This place is built on people moving, trying to survive, escaping violence, escaping regimes that are violent or tend to marginalize people. And to me, there's an opportunity to ground that character into something that feels very real. And I always I'm a fan of this idea because I if you've ever known like somebody like he says this is the migrant story is what they were saying for a long time. I've known people who've made it to college who were migrants. I went to school with people who were migrants in Paramount when I was in elementary school. And it's like it's sort of strange to me the lack of empathy that your general person who thinks they're middle class or is above middle class has for those people. And so I kind of like the idea of that this really big Star Wars science fiction story may give empathy to that. Like we used to be a country that loved the concept of well, not really. I take that back. Pretty much right away, bastards like Hamilton wanted to stop immigration like right away. Hamilton's a piece of shit, by the way. That musical's a fucking farce. I won't go off on it. But point is, we pretend that we hold that ideal, and we should hold that ideal. And I like the idea of Star Wars maybe bringing empathy to that walk of life because nobody wants that.
Jason, you should rewatch at least the opening to Gangs in New York. When Daniel Day-Lewis's character was like, "These immigrants, I'm born." His father was a revolutionary who came over from the UK. He's born there now. He's an actual citizen, and everyone else is a fucking. Irish are all shit immigrants to him, and they're this is. We're all part of. Thanks, colonial England, for just sending your shit all around the fucking world and creating. Yeah, and thank you so much for giving us the crazy fucking Quakers. Really appreciate that. It's really sending the Puritans over here really fucking did great for the world, didn't it? Like, thank you. Thanks. Some of
the Quakers at times in their history weren't completely awful though. They were a little less about the.
Yeah, some of them made some cereal, and the others.
The others though,
right?
Send them back. Send them. Let's fucking deport them. Let's build a wall. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, yeah, but I mean, I think it's a good concept, and I think whenever you have something like Star Wars, and you're sort of wielding that in the pop culture, it's a weapon, and George Lucas realized that. George Lucas, I don't think even knows what the word neoliberalism means, but he made an anti-neoliberal film trilogy with the prequels, and he felt like it was actually damaging to our democracy. And he felt like, you know what, I could accidentally say a lot of things with this. I'm gonna purposely say this, and I like the idea that if they are cognizant of it. Anyways, I don't want it rammed down our throats. I don't want it done. I want it done with elegance, and I think Tony Gilroy can do it with
elegance.
With some elegance.
Yeah, he's really good. Because all that stuff is in those Bourne movies, but it's not shoved in your face,
Yeah, Favreau and Filoni couldn't do this without it being ham-fisted. You know what I mean? It wouldn't work. And that's not a slight on them. They do what they do fucking masterfully.
They would write and direct an amazing season of Cobra Kai. But I'll be honest, I'd like to see look, I like the corniness of Cobra Kai, but I gotta tell you, the whatever green screen rear projection thing they're doing every time someone's in a car driving around Mexico needs to stop. Like it's you have a budget. Like you have a budget. Like that is ridiculous.
Never stop that.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It only works in like a Tarantino film where they're really stylized. It's not stylized enough to work for old Rob. Sorry.
No, you see that they're making a new Karate Kid film, and it's not connected to it. Bespin was telling me about it. It's not really connected to it, and it's like Karate Kid for boomers because the kid is teaching the old restaurant owner how to fight.
This is a really bad idea. All of it is a bad idea. It will fail.
My whole thing was like, is it connected to those movies? No, it's not, and it's this close. Sorry, Karate Kid isn't Spider-Man, and even Spider-Man,
right? But they have momentum with the net, so they could make a Cobra Kai movie, right? And like give some big finale and do the cash in, but they're not. They're like, I'm a producer. I'm making movies are better than we're gonna do. It's gonna fail.
Yeah,
it's gonna fail.
Yeah, it's gonna fail big time. Or if it doesn't, it's gonna just do fucking the Jaden Smith numbers at best, probably. But I would love if it was really good and it was still in that universe. I don't know why you would move it out, but I guess it's because Sony owns it and it's like a different deal or some shit. But anyways,
can I got 5 minutes, but let me just bring this one up really quick. Aria says, you guys watch Thor and Love and Thunder, not happy that Taika's making the next Star Wars film. Yeah, I don't agree with that stance, Aria, whether you like the movie or not. That's like saying Mansgold made that shitty Wolverine movie, so Homeboy can never direct another Wolverine movie ever again, let alone an Indiana Jones film. Like, Taika has range, and
if you like,
I know everyone thinks
finale of season 1, that's Taika. That's Taika doing Star Wars. That's a better that's a better test for what his Star Wars is going to feel like than Thor: Love and Thunder, which is a romantic comedy.
So like
amalgamation of genre.
It's like saying the guy who made the movie about the photo booth guy is making a Batman film. It's gonna suck, this is ridiculous. You can't.
I don't.
To be fair, Joel Schumacher just came off Falling Down and The Client, and he did what's the Deadliners headline? No, what's that fucking movie? Flatliners, Lost Boys, and then he did Batman Forever. Like it doesn't. The things don't equate, like every project is its own thing, is the cat capable? The only question I have to say is I just don't know how many dudes can write and direct a film of that scale properly. Very few can pull it off. And then I almost think like if it's going to take another 7 years to do it, just get a writing team, man, Sure. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if Taika is the person to bring us the first Star Wars movie in several years. Like I think he's going to make a fine Star Wars movie. I would personally, the first one back in theaters we don't know what the premise of it is though. We only have our assumptions. So it's a hard one to read, but we'll see. Bespin Bulletin saw Clerks 3 and he told me like the big Star Wars monologue joke. Do you want to know the essence of it?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to see the movie.
Spoilers on that? Yeah, no, I thought it was funny because I'm going to see it too, but I haven't got to see it yet. But I guess like there's stuff's going on and Randall's talking to somebody and he tells somebody that like, oh man, you got to watch this Mandalorian show. It's got the real Luke Skywalker, like Return of the Jedi, not fucking Gran Torino Last Jedi Luke Skywalker. Called it Gran Torino. So that was pretty funny.
I recommend. Let me see if I can grab it really quick. I got it here on the. Yeah, keep it on the old spinner rack. Oh, it's on the complete opposite side of the spinner rack. Thanks, Rob. Where? Okay, I don't know where it is. It's in the spinner rack. Anyway, I got the Clerks comic, dude. I highly recommend you go back and dig up the Oni Press. You can buy it digitally, whatever. Get a scam. The Clerks comic from 1999 or so. It's all about Randall bootlegging Star Wars toys at night. There's like this guy who at the back of the toy store who holds he's like the gatekeeper of all those toys, and he makes people do seditious things to get the toys and shit, and it could be made into a movie. It holds up to this day, that whole premise. It's crazy.
When I was in undergrad, I had access to this CD printing lab at school, and I would just go on eBay and I would put up copies of the original trilogy, the original version, and I would put them on eBay as being like legit DVDs, and I would like print out the labels, the stickers at school, and put them on and sell them for like $60-$75 a pop on eBay back then. I made a lot of money until they finally closed down my eBay account after I was in it for like 3 or 4 years. I'm like, this is a racket. And I love the special edition, so I was like, here's your fucking stupid thing for $75, sucker. It was weird. It was a weird time. But anyways, and it was helpful. I'll say on Rogue, it was super clinical and say, hey, why are we choosing to die? You really have to care about the people that are going to sacrifice themselves if that's the raw material, the engine of the story. After Rogue One went into from a project. Oh yeah, one last thing about that, by the way, before you go. So, and this isn't a dig on him. I had that Darth Vader was in Rogue One, and I had seen the earliest costume tests and stuff, and put out the article, and I always think about it because I like Pete from Slash Film, and Peter
Serrato.
And he was so earnest. He was like, dude, I think this is wrong because they said there's no Jedi in it. They said that. And I'm just like, and like, but that's like that, this is like early on though. This is like, we've only had one Star Wars film. So all of this stuff hadn't happened. And I think about that and I'm like, the Luke Skywalker.
Remember when there was no way
Boba Fett show.
Remember when even most recently, remember there's no way there's going to be a Joker in the Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
yeah,
there's going to be something at some point. I don't believe them. They'll probably wait till the very end, hopefully,
Yeah.
So, because if they put the shit at the beginning, it's just going to, every week, are we going to get more? Are we going to get more? You can't actually talk about the show, is really what it comes down to. You have to throw it toward the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Gilroy remembers a feeling of euphoria and a sense of possibilities at Lucasfilm. CEO Kathleen Kennedy soon expressed interest in following up on the story in prequel form. And once Disney Plus and the success of The Mandalorian opened the door for the episodic TV storytelling within the universe, an Andor series became a top priority. So I had Blue Sky.
I don't know about Kathy. I'm going to roll. I don't know about cameos, Jason, but I do think this would be cool to see on the season 2. They put young Boba Fett in, get Daniel Logan or something, and see these cats do the Bourne Identity version of that character during this time period. I think you can fit Boba Fett in there pretty good. Even maybe the disintegrations bit, like somehow, and it would still work in all pretty well,
Yeah.
It would be cool to see that. That would be the only thing that I would find that I can think of that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you end up with a part that is a bounty hunter that needs to be like hunting people because the Imperials aren't doing it and they hire somebody, then that's an opportunity to give something like Boba like a really hard backstory, and I'd be for it, but also at the same time, I think it would probably open the door to them starting to candy ass the show up. Like, oh, it's Boba Fett. We can do this, and we started look at the corporation, start seeing all these opportunities. And so, in a way, I'm kind of afraid of them getting too close to opportunities that can taint the show. I don't know. At some point, like as this goes to wrap up, though, no, if they when they get towards the back end of this and they don't need Gilroy anymore, and it's in the bag and it's pretty much done, that is when the corporations start going, oh, we don't really give a fuck what you want. That's when they start really shitting on on what they've done. And
I suspect he'll have a bigger hand in that second season, despite what he says.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
no, I think what he said has been misconstrued. What he's been in essence saying is, I'm the show runner. I'm not going to be directing any of this. And they're making it sound like he's stepping away from season 2. He's not. He's just not directing any of season 2 because he didn't direct any of season 1 because it's too much work to write it and to show run it and keep everything at quality. So that's all he's been saying the whole time. And they've been making it sound like he's stepping away when that's just not the case.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Are you taking off?
I'm gonna wrap up with this. Main reason I hate Taika is because he went on a show talking shit about visual effects artists doing bad CGI during the entire Thor film. I'm like, yeah, but Lucas said Ewan talks like fat bastard. So, you know, like, I mean, shit talking shit. They go on a show, they say some stupid shit, right? Like, you know, they come on. You know, does he think that? Come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Someone that watched Andor said that Slimore and Ars Dangar are in the show. Later, Rob. I'll see you, dude. Peace. Bye. See you tomorrow. Did you hear about that? There's been stuff about like all of these names and stuff like that were like referenced, and some of it I know is true. I think it was you who sent me like a bunch of names the other day, and it was like, you know, we heard about the solo Star Wars story planet being there with Andor being stationed there and a cook and all that. So I had blue sky conversations with Kathy, says Gilroy. Can you do this? Can you do that? The galaxy is just enormous. There's billions of creatures that are living there. So there's stuff that we've all heard before. Lucasfilm's original concept was a 5-season show with each 12-episode season covering a year in the story. And both Gilroy and Luna initially signed on for that enormous commitment. I realized how much I missed the job and missed this character, says Luna. But around that time, they were shooting the show's 5th and 6th episodes in Scotland. The duo sat down and had some drinks and decided they agreed it's an impossible plan. At the rate it was taking to make the show, 5 seasons would have turned out to be a commitment of 15 years. It was just like, we can't possibly do this, Gilroy says. It's a massive, massive undertaking, and Diego wouldn't be able to play a younger man over the next 15 years. We wouldn't be like able to physically do it. And we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So at first it was desperation, and then a very lucky, elegant solution presented itself. The solution was to push against the drawn out imperative of ultra serialized storytelling in the streaming era. With Lucasfilm's permission, they decided to dramatically speed up the pace and turn the show into a 24-episode limited series. So ultimately, that's probably better. I mean, there's probably things that would be cool to explore, characters and stuff like that to like hang out with. But yeah, I mean, it is true though. I mean, he can't. If they did 5, you know, it would probably take about 8 or 9 years, and if they were to do it that way. So do it the right way. That's usually the way to do it the first time. Arvel says, I don't want any cameos shoehorned in, but if it contextually makes sense for the story, then that's cool with me. Yeah, me too. That's where I come from on it. Like, we've had cameos in shows before, and I'm like, we didn't need that. It didn't help. It's distracting, if anything. It doesn't offend me when Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba show up in Rogue One, but does it help? I don't think so. I think it's more distracting than helpful. But also, I try not to take things too seriously all the time, so it was fun. You know, what are you going to do? KG says, I think it was the right decision. But anyways, KG's talking about shortening the show. For one of the show stars in particular, the time jumps will be yet another opportunity to trace the evolution of a character she never expected to play for so long. For 2005's Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas cast a 20-something Genevieve O'Reilly as the young version of Mon Mothma, a character introduced in a small but pivotal role in 1983's Return of the Jedi as the regal leader of the Rebel Alliance. Many Bothans died to bring us this information, was the classic line from Return of the Jedi version of the character, played by the late Caroline Blackiston. O'Reilly, who watched that scene many times to absorb as much as she could from the performance, but whatever, you get it. You didn't get COVID from D23, glad. I know a couple of people got it there. Yeah, no, I tried to use the mask as much as I could whenever I was like in any populated areas. I know that it was a gamble, but no, I didn't get it. And I also only went to the things I needed to go to. I didn't like make it a big hangout thing, And the person I hung out with was thankfully wearing a mask the whole time as well, so that helped. So anyways, she didn't make the final cut, Mon Mothma. C-3PO Anthony Daniels was in one of the Sith scenes. It had been such a huge part of my childhood that a young person to be immersed in it was just quite awe-inspiring. I remember stepping onto these sound stages. It was one of my first gigs, and I had no idea that I would still have the opportunity to play her 20 years later. Yeah, it's kind of weird because even though she was in Rogue One, like this is the first time we're actually getting like Mon Mothma. Like we're gonna, meet her husband. Like that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna see like her choice to become a rebel. So when we meet her, she's serving in the Imperial Senate while also secretly collaborating with the Nascent Rebellion. Initially, we see her clandestine meetings with another key character in the series, the newly created Luthen Rael, played by veteran actor Stellan Skarsgård. That was also so interesting about coming back to Mon Mothma this time as well, says O'Reilly. Previously, she's been such a public figure, a noble statesperson. But who is she behind the veil? What you get to see for the first time is not just the senator, but the woman. What? So, Ari says, majority reviewers were normies. Only one guy mentioned Sly Moore and Ars Dangar. Both were around Massa Amida and Palpatine during the films. Yeah, Star Wars Meg had that scoop that Massa Amida is in it. And there was a rumor from Bespin Bulletin that Imperial Guards were in it, so it makes sense. Another key character in the first real villain introduced in the series, the junior Imperial officer Cyril Karn, which, by the way, I hear that they only call him Karn in the show. They don't really call him by his first name. Played by Kyle Soller. God, his name is almost his name. Cyril Karn by Kyle Soller, an American actor who trained in the UK and has had success in the theater there. A fairly common pedigree for Imperial characters, though usually they're native Britons. What is it about the British stage training that leads itself to playing evil dudes in Star Wars, he muses. That is a really good question. Does it train you how to express repression and anger and desire for power and control very well? In any case, Cyril, who developed a Javert-like obsession with Cassian, is a slightly comic character, so seethingly uptight that other Imperials find him annoying. All the Empire dudes who are super starchy and everything are like, wow, that guy needs a fucking holiday. Like he's taking it too far, he says. So personally, I don't think so, Seth. I don't know what to make of that though. So I'm just putting it out there because I don't have anything on it. I never heard anything about Tamara Morrison being involved in any of these shows. I haven't heard of Tamara Morrison being in The Mandalorian 3. I haven't heard of Tamara Morrison being in anything outside of the Book of Boba Fett. That's the last thing I've ever heard that he was involved with. I'm not saying he's not, just that's all that I, other than the clones in the trailer, which are guys in suits though, right? So I mean, he could be doing the voices of those guys if they have any lines. If they're like, at the same time, it could easily be the dude who did it in the Clone Wars too. So, oh yeah, that was another thing. Is I heard some stuff about Andor 2, and it's gonna start filming very, very soon. Here's what I heard. Some sets will be going up at Pinewood on, I think, around Tuesday. So yeah, so around Tuesday we should have some Pinewood sets for season 2 starting construction. So tomorrow, pretty much when the show is about to premiere. So anyways, all of a sudden they parted and there were like 50 stormtroopers just all in line, and I spilled coffee all over myself. Like, holy shit, I'm in Star Wars. So that was the article. It kind of ended a little fluffy, I think, but I'll take it. It was a kind of a good overview of a lot of the stuff that we've been hearing, and this is kind of like the last day almost. Ooh, I wanted to show you guys this stuff too. This stuff from the concept artist on Kenobi. Check him out, dude. Check out how fucking badass that looks. I mean, that looks so good. Like, it sucks he's just in amber, in that I want to see this character like in live action. I mean, look at how fucking just cool that looks. It's sort of frightening. You know what I mean? But not at the same time. Like, it looks completely like the concept art for the prequels, but completely real. And I just fucking love it. It's pretty hilarious in the Clone Wars as like the old guy, but this is what he would look like in live action. Look at his cane right there from the Clone Wars that he has, that like he opens up and turns into the lightsabers there, and it just looks fucking rad. I really hope they bring this guy into the Acolyte or something, because he's really old, or at least he could be. I don't know how old he really is, but he's old in the Clone Wars. So, and then I guess this is Pablo Jill, and which was just kind of like a cheap mask, I think, in Attack of the Clones. We see him walking behind Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sort of always reminding me of like just an upside down head. So it looks like an upside down Mon Calamari or something, but pretty rad though. And not as cool as the other guy. Oh yeah, and here's something else that was out that's floating around, by the way. These are the run times of season, or the first 4 episodes of Andor. So they're 40 to 30 minutes basically when you get down to it. Basically, like aiming for that 45-minute runtime, generally speaking. So that's what you can expect. That's what you should expect, what you can expect. And so there it is. There you have it. You don't need to stress about how long you're going to be up for, if you are going to stay up, or you could do the math and decide to stay up if you want to now, based off of that stuff. So yeah, too bad Deborah used him for a still frozen scene. I know and once again, we can't go around just acting like Deborah Chow had unlimited money to do whatever the fuck she wanted. She was working within that studio system. And but yeah, wouldn't it have been cool if he was the one with the kids at the beginning, training them, and then we see them attacked, then we see them run, and then later on we see him in the amber? Like, it would have been cooler, would have been more visually stimulating. But that's the problem with not having theatrical films, is we've completely lost sight of the difference between the television shows and the films. We completely just treat it as if it's all Star Wars, as if it's all the same. And in reality, it's just not. You know, Kenobi should have been a Star Wars film, was meant to be initially, because it's that big in scope. And it got squeezed down into being a character piece. I love it, but I can't deny the fact that it, you know, honestly, the film stuff wasn't better. It didn't make it to a better place, in my opinion. But it also, the show would have, or the story would have benefited if we had the heart of the television show put into to a film. But that would have been the ultimate dream, I think. But so, as the truth says, we start shooting in November on part 2. I don't know if our past pattern was 2 years, but I mean, I'll be on. We'll shoot from November to August. Our post last time was about a year. So, yeah. Sets are, like I said, are supposed to start to get into production here. Really, and RA says, really hope Andor does extremely well in terms of ratings, and that it sets high standards for future shows. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, it's weird because I'm going to watch Andor with an 8-year-old, right? I am. And I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he is going to be into it. I don't know if it's going to work for him. Is it going to be boring? I hope it's not. But it's sort of weird because if it's boring to my kid, then it just shows the damned if you do, damned if you don't nature of the beast of Star Wars, of just the fact that you can't please everybody all of the time. But I do think that what you can do with Star Wars is you can please demographics at times with that IP. There are people like who love the prequels. I was one of them. And the Knights of the Old Republic came out. I didn't love it. Just straight up, honestly, I just didn't love it. But I knew a lot of people who did. And like, that's cool. Like, not everything has to be for me, you know? Like, if they want to go do something, that's I don't know. If they want to go do Mean Girls in Space, I probably would like that, actually. But if they want to go do that, it's not going to be for everybody, but it's fine as long as they're not doing the same thing every show. And when we look at what the Lucasfilm layout is right now, it's pretty good. Like, right now we're having what's being touted as the adult Star Wars for grown-ups. But then in like a few months down the road, or within a year, we're going to have Star Wars Goonies. That's great. Like, that's how it should be. Like what Gilroy says, this place is so big, you can do anything. You know, he even like mentions, like, can we do a hospital show? And it's like, yeah, you can. And in fact, Band of Brothers, that one of the episodes about the field medic is one of the best episodes they did. So could something like that work in Star Wars? It totally could. And so that's where that's where I fall on this stuff. That's why I like Kenobi a lot. I could be critical of aspects of it, but it doesn't fucking anger me. It doesn't ruin anything. I think it's a good story. If we treat them as like little visual books, it's still a good book. That's the way I look at it. And this book looks like it's going to be pretty deep. But, you know, is my kid going to like it? Because it's going to be funny, because I'm going to feel like this weird thing about the show where it's going to be highly satisfying to me, I think. The clips have been highly satisfying. But if my little boy doesn't like it, it still kind of falls into that place. So, man, you know what I mean? It's weird. It's funny, though. Am I throwing shade at Gilroy? Because I don't mean to. I really like that guy. I really like the work that he does. Like I said, I think Star Wars has a lot of spectrum. You know, there's a big spectrum of things that you can do. And there's like times when it's going to be a fairy tale. It's going to be Little Red Riding Hood level of storytelling, because that works. But then there's also times when you could maybe take it down to what does it mean to actually like rebel against a broken tyrannical system, and what does it look like? So, as a true says, I watched the prequels with my brother this week. Didn't like the Phantom Menace, but loved Qui-Gon. Liked Attack of the Clones and Dooku, but found Anakin and Obi-Wan cringe. Loved Revenge of the Sith a lot, though, which used to be his favorite. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite. It's weird. It's like when you love something like Star Wars, that stuff becomes like memeable almost. And then you start to like love it for how cringy and silly it is. And George Lucas is just a fucking weirdo. Like, I love the guy. Like he's my favorite. So when I say that, that's not a slight. It's just like what is going on in your head? What makes you make these decisions? But it's like the thousands of decisions that George Lucas's make one by one are fucking batshit. But together, the visuals that he puts together and the tone he sets and the harmony he makes in all of those choices, I love. It's bizarre though. No one's ever going to be able to like replicate it. Arya says, sucks that we won't see Vader done right by Gilroy. God, he would probably do a good job with Vader, but he did, Arya, in Rogue One. You could see it there. And when we get down to it, when we look at Darth Vader in Rogue One, then we look at what we got in the Kenobi series, there's really not much more to really do with him. How much more of Darth Vader going, you failed me for the last time, new character? You know what I mean? And like just and being like, I call him Mr. Manager, Sith Mr. Manager. It has diminishing returns. It really does. And I don't think I think we want that. Like we want them to do something really great with Darth Vader, but do we really want it? You know what I mean? It's the old be careful what you wish for scenario. And I think every 5, 6, 7 years, Darth Vader showing up in a powerful way is the way to go. But I don't think we want him showing up too much. Like I understand he probably has to show up in the Ahsoka series to retell that moment. That's what it sounds like they're doing anyway, or what their plan is. But I really dislike the proximity between like Broken Helmet Vader from Rebels. Even the space between Rebels and Kenobi was a pretty good time. But this next time it's going to happen, it's very close. But I think Ahsoka's earned that Darth Vader moment. So that breaks my philosophy on it. But what are you going to do? You have to. It's a story. It exists. Astrid says he hasn't watched them since he was 7 years old. Whoa, that's almost as long as Cassian's been in this fight. I tried to get him to see a 10-minute Clone Wars summary, but he said, I do not want to watch animated Star Wars. And yeah, it's always sad when people What's up, guys? What are you guys doing? You guys not think you're watching a Star Wars show? Because you might be. I don't know. Um, I don't know what's going on with the service today. It just like booted me out. Everything was here. That's it. But yeah. Well, anyways, I think we pretty much hit all of the main news stories of the day. Anyhow, tomorrow I'll probably be on tomorrow just because I'll be excited for Andor, and then but tomorrow night we will be on to talk about it. Actually, you know, I'll come on tomorrow, and then tomorrow night I'll come on after the show. And yeah, I know. I wish I was taking a ghostly shit. That would be funny. Instead, I'm just like sitting here pissed off at my internet. I don't know if it's my internet or if it's the service, but since it happened to me and not Rob, I think it must be my internet today. Just like doing that old modem reset thing that it just randomly will do to you. So, but tomorrow's Andor Eve, so get ready, you guys. It's gonna be a good time, and I think I'll be here with Max and James, and we'll be talking about the episodes and digging in. And it's gonna, you know, no, I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Mac. But yeah, so we will be taking the episode apart, and I hope you guys will all show up and dig in with me and let me know what you think, you know, because like two things are going to happen. I mean, either this is going to be like the most intriguing Star Wars ever, or it's going to be the most boring Star Wars ever. That's really the outcome to this. And it might actually be, we might be split. You know what I mean? And we might, some of us, like Quentin might be like, this is the most exciting Star Wars that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I might be like, that was boring. I think that could happen. But at the same time, we may all love it. This may be the best thing that they've ever done, you know, because it's like let's be honest, the fan base doesn't necessarily get any younger unless it's bringing in new people. And then there's a hell of a lot more oldens than there are younglings. So most likely this is going to make most fans happy, I think. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous for him, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, everyone, if anything, any big news happens or whatever, like I said, I'll jump back on, and we'll see how it goes. Quentin is a youngling. Quentin's just a little baby boy. He's not a father. He's not a man with a career and a house. He's just a little baby boy watching Star Wars. You know, leave him alone, you guys. But Arvel says, I'm way more excited for Andor now after seeing a couple of the trailers than I was when it was announced. Yeah, no, totally. And that's how it is with this stuff. I mean, like, because you either put it there or you don't. You either put stuff there or you take stuff away from it. You know, like Skeleton Crew is the show I'm the most excited for out of all of them. But there's really not anything there. I know I need to go take a Benadryl nap. This eye looks like I got punched right now. It really does. And I was wanting to take a Benadryl actually, and I was like, that's gonna put me to sleep. I fucking conk out. But Tyrant says, I'm real hyped. Rogue One is my favorite thing Disney has done. So more in that background. Yes, even with Tony Gilroy, I'm excited. Tyrant, I'm hoping that you and Tony can squash this feud. I'm hoping that you guys could just come together and see that you guys both love this thing and you guys could finally stop this feud. It's torn both your families apart. And I just would love nothing more than for you guys to be able to reconcile and go back to your 4th of July barbecues. Just being friends again. So Seth is, I'm currently suffering through a throat infection with a swollen vulva. Oh no. Oh, sorry. I thought you said vulva. But that sounds bad. I hope you're okay. Yeah, this looks worse than it feels, strangely, which is what's annoying about it, you know. But I almost went with my sunglasses today, but I was like, if it gets worse, though, I will be going to the sunglasses because I don't like looking like Rocky Balboa getting beat up. This never happened to me until a couple of years ago. It would just start. I have like an allergy attack when I'm sleeping, and then yeah, you saw it too. That's what I saw too. I saw a swollen vulva. But after Wednesday, I'm hoping to go from fuck Tony Gilroy to fucking Tony Gilroy, right? I think so. I think he's. I do think he probably is the creator that I share the most, like, yes, you are on the right page. Yes, I agree. When it comes to the other creators, I'm usually like, okay. And then I like, I'll see what they're doing and then go, okay, what you're doing in totality, I agree with, or I don't. And I like it. Like, it sounds good. Um, he's a hard person to argue with in terms of like the reasoning is always very logical and very sound. So I think it's going to be great. But Seth says it's hell, laughing my ass off. Gonna go do the doctors tomorrow. Couldn't today because the Queen's funeral. It started on Saturday. I'm sorry. And if you love the Queen and all that, I don't know why, but I if you're mourning, I'm sorry. I don't want anybody to be sad, but fucking hell, life goes on. She's dead. You're not. You should be able to get treated today. You should be able to go to the movies more than once a day. I mean, she's dead. Live, England. Drop the bullshit. It's so dumb. It's so this idea of selling monarchy. I mean, all it does is it just fucking lets it be okay to sell oligarchy when you get down to it. All the archies, fuck it all. This is anarchy. No, I'm kidding. But it was a bank holiday. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's like a thing. The funeral shut down everything. Yeah, I mean, God, it's so fucking old and not relevant. And it's fucking, I get it. You guys have democracy, but why have this anti-democratic thing on top of it? Why have this thing that's like about class? Why embrace that? Why not go, yeah, we have this beautiful past. I'll be honest with you guys. When I get to go to your beautiful country, I am completely gonna want to visit the palace, but I do not give a fuck if there's any royal in there today because that doesn't mean anything. I would go there to look at the history, not at what's there now. I just couldn't give two shits. And when they think that tourism views it that way, I think they're wrong. I think they're completely wrong. And the whole country shut down like Christmas. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe if you hate the monarchy, then you're like, hey, it's a holiday. Everybody, let's party. But she was 96. Why was anybody surprised? I know. And it's like, it's not like she was fucking Nelson Mandela or something. You know what I mean? And if people loved her because they thought she was nice, whatever. But I know a lot more bad things than I know of good things about that person. And I just think it's a dumb concept. I just think it teaches us the wrong things. I think it's a reminder of your place. But fuck them and where they say your place is what I say. It's all theater. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And it's like I said, it says that God has created these people that are better than you that you must listen to, and they have your best interest. But do they have your best interest? What did when you've been economically suffering? It's like, has she done anything for you really? It sounds like she just takes from you. You know what I mean? Like you're paying taxes so that she could have this lavish lifestyle and this bullshit symbolism of it. It doesn't mean it's nothing. It's fake. And I don't understand. It makes me more angry about the United States covering it like it's a thing. We literally threw that off and started a whole new world to not fucking embrace that. People like Hamilton wanted it, because Hamilton sucks, by the way. But yeah, far from Mandela, the Queen was Britain to a lot of people over here. Even though we were expecting it, it still came out of nowhere. And like I kind of get, like, I've heard things from people that are like, she's always been here, and it's just weird that she's not. Like, I kind of understand that. But that's a private feeling between that person and that. I don't understand why it's on my news still. The new king has a multi-million-dollar food corporation. Yeah. I did like when I was a kid, though, that SNL skit. I think it was Dana Carvey playing Charles, and he's telling Camilla that he wants to be her tampon because that's what he said. But just like the skit as a sixth grader was the funniest fucking thing to me. That's my fondest memory of the whole thing. Arvel says, but also this lady was the richest and most elite people in the world who had access to the best healthcare in the world. Meanwhile, people can't go to the doctor or pharmacy when she dies. It's a sick irony. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. You know, it really is. And you guys are over in the UK are doing it way better than we are in terms of the medical stuff. So I guess like, hey, enjoy your day of being an American. When the Queen died. Tyrant says nobody really likes Queen. Way overrated. Nowhere near the reach people think they had. Completely run of the mill. On and the old lady sucked too. Oh come on, the band Queen, you son of a bitch. Not even kidding. Like I was a big Queen fan before it was cool. I used to get beat up. I used to get beat up by jocks because I loved Queen. Like I was like in like middle school, just obsessed like with Queen and Brian May. Would just wrote papers about the construction of Brian May's guitar as a kid. Weirdo, man. Arvel says so sick. I no pun intended. At the time, though, but hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I just hope that that the world can move past this, can move past monarchy, because oligarchy is what we really need to fear. That's a real thing. That's what the Trumpers are on about. And that's what they want. And it's just this big lie that, you know, like our fairy tales tell us that we're actually a prince and a princess, and we just don't know it. And it's going to be revealed to our real parents. Or no, your real parents are Ray's drunk parents. That's your real parents. That's, you know, nobody's. That's who your parents probably are. And I really hope that Star Wars stops telling that story. And I like where Gilroy's coming at this from, because let's be honest, for George Lucas to make Princess Leia a princess, look at the mental gymnastics we had to jump through. Like it's wild to make that democratic, to make that align with George Lucas's values, because he wanted that fairy tale feeling. In the end, Queen Amidala is an elected queen with a term. It's like, it's not really how that works. It's really fucking crazy. You know what I mean? And I like the fairy tale stuff too, though. I'm as guilty there as the next person. I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm not saying I don't like my Disney story. I do. It's cute and it's quaint. But I do think it's time that we stop telling the narrative in that from that perspective. I don't think the narrative needs that appeal to power. And I think that appeal to power is largely been like these stories exist with this little subtext that helps them, you know. But rest in peace, the Rockstar hacker. Did they get caught? Or are you just talking in general? Tarrant says, yeah, got Jason to read my anti-queen rant. My job today is done. You know what? I'm not kidding. Queen changed my life. Brian May and that music, I am sick of it though. 43 years old now, and it finally happened. I can't listen to Queen. Not any of the hits. I'll put on like when I feel like listening to Queen, I put on Queen 2. Queen 2 is the best Queen record, followed by Sure Heart Attack. And then, you know, from there, the first 8 records are fantastic. Obviously, anybody could tell me that's their favorite, and I would respect it. If you say your favorite's The Miracle, though, I don't know, man. And then Innuendo, it started to get better. It was still kind of cheesy. It started to get better, but you know. But anyways, yeah. But Brian May, a huge Queen fan, by the way, has a huge Star Wars collection. Ray Nobody was much more powerful a concept than Ray Palpatine. 100% agree. And I loved it because I know more people whose parents were ex-drug addicts, aren't in their lives anymore because they were on drugs, or they were drunks, or they were abusive, or they were shitheads. And the concept of Ray rising above that past, you know, God, I hate the Horatio Alger pull yourself up by your bootstrap stuff that capitalism tries to sell us. But that is the system that you're in, and that is ultimately the hurdle. It's bullshit. It sucks, but that's the world that we live in. And Ray doing that is a much more being able to overcome the emotionality of that is more powerful than anything. And it's a shame that they didn't go with it. That's what I think. But and I think Andor would agree, but Queen is a great band. Oh, for sure. I mean, like as a kid, my dad loved like Led Zeppelin, and he would play Led Zeppelin all the time. And it's not knocking Led Zeppelin, but it like I liked Aerosmith, the band of Aerosmith, but I hated Steven Tyler. I still do. He sucks. Singers that say baby baby too much get on my nerves. But it took me like a couple of years. I was about maybe 7 or 8 until I realized, holy shit, Bicycle Race, Flash, Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the Dust. This is all the same people. The songs don't sound the same. And that's when I realized, like, oh, these people are something different. These people don't care what they're supposed to do. Like, love AC/DC, but AC/DC does one thing. That's all they ever do. Queen, my dad loved Black Sabbath. That's why I'm a weird person musically. I had this like young new wave mom and this metal dad, and so when Nirvana hit, that was perfect storm for me. That was like, because that's what Nirvana was. Nirvana was taking metal and new wave and putting it together, and kind of Queen to some extent, and taking the rules of what had to be, how things had to be, and just throwing them out the window and making good music. And yeah, Nirvana, that changed my life though. That was like, I was all about learning the Brian May stuff until Nirvana happened. I remember hearing I actually, when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, I only liked the intro. I used to just play the intro guitar over and over again. I was just like obsessed with that sound and that thing. And then I started to realize how funny that guy's lyrics were though. But yeah, I was more like grunge. Grunge is a complicated thing for me, KG, because it's like Nirvana was an Olympia band, not like a Seattle band. So it's like Bikini Kill and also like Scratch Acid and stuff like that was what Nirvana was. And then Mudhoney kind of like blurs that line, but then you get into like straight up Seattle and it's just totally different. And it's not what they were. And like a lot of the songs that, like some of the classic Nirvana songs were making fun of that stuff, like Negative Creep, is making fun of like grunge and some of that shit, the Seattle sound and shit like that. So it's weird, but yeah, I like Nirvana, the weirder Nirvana stuff, and Tad. I never got into like Tad, and I always meant to, but I couldn't get Tad when I couldn't get a Tad record back then. You just couldn't really find it anywhere, But yeah, I think I still know like every riff, from what's up? Or Negative Creep, all that shit. I like that. Like, yeah, I got Bleach and I was like, fuck, man. Yeah, this is my main guitar, which is actually Johnny, the Ramones and Kurt Cobain used what this is based off of. And but that one like is such a small guitar, and I'm a big guy, and Dan Electro made this one, which is like an improvement on the real one. And it's like under $1,000. And it's I love this guitar though. I'm never going to sell it, it just, yeah, it's but these Dan Electro continually makes good stuff, when you get down to it. But yeah, Arvo says nice guitar. I have a PB260 and a couple of jazz basses. Hey, you should contribute some bass to some more Dracula songs. Oh, Yeah, I like the weirder Nirvana stuff, like Aneurysm. I don't have my amp here. My amp is at my drummer's house, and when I'm recording at home, obviously I'm just using emulated amps and stuff, and so that's where I'm at. I actually use what's it called? What's that fucking? I got like an amp emulator, and that's fucking drawing a Amplitude. I use Amplitude 4. I could do the 5, but I'd still use the 4. They have like a Brian May from Queen setting and stuff, like, or pack that I got, and it's pretty good. I've actually like, so wait, what's that? Something in the Way is hands down one of my favorite songs. Yeah, it's like they tried to get what's the guy from the Satanic Church? Is it Anton LaVey? Is that the guy from the Church of Satan? They tried to get him to play cello on that. But yeah, the story on that one is that he was like laying on his back and like playing it, and that got the vibe. So they just set up the mics around him, and it's that poly guitar, and that guitar on poly is like not the greatest guitar. You know what I mean? Obviously, yeah. It's like on the couch, and this is my favorite guitar line of all time. It's so fucking bizarre. People always ask me if I like Foo Fighters. I'm like, I like the first 2 records. Like Everlong is amazing guitar line. Like it's like very Sonic Youthy and like really cool, but yeah, I do music as for Dracula, and me and Johnny have been working on a lot of my stuff, and I have like a lot of stuff coming out, and a lot of stuff in like various states, yeah, Foo Fighters though, I mean, like as like a rock band, it's like there's nothing to shit talk on them as like a rock band. You just hit that point where you're like, man, you were Nirvana. Because it's like weird. It's hard to let people move on, but if you ever see something from Wayward Ambience, that's me. Okay. Wayward Ambience. I will. Are you on like Apple Music and stuff? Because I will add that. Yeah, I'm like a Nirvana kick right now, and my little Fender acoustic here is very much like. Wait, my. Oops. I'm gonna get demonetized, right? For showing this. I won't. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but yeah, like I basically like we used to always play like Nirvana songs and like all of the bands I would play for like sound checks and stuff, and like In Utero was like the record for me that just like that fucking changed everything for me. That's where I was like, oh yeah, like I like punk, you know what I mean? That's where I was like, this is how it should be, and yeah. Anyways, sorry to go off on a music thing, but I blame the chat. It's not my fault. But 25 to 30 seconds are usually good. Okay. Yeah. I actually have some like Nirvana covers that I might put out. I thought about doing like an EP of Nirvana covers, but when I release the stuff on DistroKid, I'm able to get rights and then do it, but I don't know if I could do it on Bandcamp. And I kind of wanted just to do the Nirvana covers record on Bandcamp, you know. I think that would be like kind of more fun. But yeah. And then Queen stuff is just like not really as fun to play on the guitar in the end without the record, which I found, which is kind of weird, but all right. Anyways, we'll call it a show. We're devolving into music, but maybe we'll do a music episode. Maybe we'll do a bad cover show one of these days. We could have Quentin come on. Quentin would probably do a good cover, but I would do bad covers. But we'll do the actual impromptu concert. And but anyways, beyond tomorrow, beyond later, if anything happens, obviously, and then give us your band one more time, so that way I could put it on. That way we can everybody could add it. I'll add it right now. I'll add it right now to my Amazon. Sorry, to my Amazon Music. I'm for Dracula, like 4-track with Eula, like Dracula. I named it that because I've written so many songs over the years, and I felt sort of like a vampire, bringing out these old tracks and siphoning them off. And I was like, oh, that made me laugh because some of the shit was 4-track demos I did, and some of it wasn't. Most of it's new now, but yeah, check out my records on Apple Music. No, FOUR here, like track like that. That is so. Whoa! I went to Wayland. Wayward Ambulance. Wait, is it? Oh, Ambience. I thought you said. All right. So I am adding the August 28th "Candy by the Fire" single, and then I will use that to get into everything else. I don't know. What do you guys like? Like a lot of people seem to like Spotify. For some reason, I feel like Apple Music, just a general like music sounds better to me. But I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Yeah, Duckula. But yeah, and Johnny's got some stuff like really, really close to being finished. I got like a bunch of like, I'm not even kidding, like probably 4 records now worth of shit that I just like need drums and bass polished on, and Johnny to mix, and then fucking ready to go. I want to get like, we have a bunch of singles almost done, and so I want to kind of get a thing going where I just have like a fucking song a month, like a single a month or something like that, probably. And I don't know if I'll do records because I feel like when I do records, it gets less listened to than singles. So, but my last single was Sea Monkeys that I put out, and I think it sounds pretty good, you know, for what I do. And I haven't really actually played live solo. Like I was always using other people to be my singers, and at their behest, and kind of held me back because they're lazy or just, you know, on the same page or whatever. And so now I'm doing all the guitar playing and singing myself to the detriment of the songs, but I feel like it's more honest. It's what I sound like. It's what it sounds like. And yeah. So Dracula, Wayward Ambience. There we go. We got our, and if anybody else has any bands or whatever like that, any music stuff, put it on, or put it in the chat, or bring it to us. Maybe because I know we have a lot of music people here. Maybe we'll do an episode, and we'll all just we'll listen to everybody's music and talk about it or something. A little bit of a music thing, if you guys want. But get a lady to sing. That's what I tried to do a lot of times. Yeah, it always, you know. And then I had one, and then we got into a relationship, and that killed it. And I have friends who've had ladies sing, and they got into relationships with them, and it ends up being really bad. And then you have the other type who can't write songs and then want to be the singer. I want to be the star, and it's like, I don't want to. I just want to write songs. I don't care. And then, you know, those people are self-destructive. So that's why I'm kind of just recording on my own now and doing it all myself, and then having people contribute bass and drums, and then mixing it out and putting it out, because I care more about songwriting than I do playing live. But I do want to start playing live again. And COVID really, I put my record out a month before COVID. So I never got to play it live, you know? And yeah, and I put out everything on Spotify and Apple Music, Amazon Music, like all of the Deezer and all that shit. Like it's on all of like the main platforms. So, but yeah, thanks, Quentin. And yeah, and thank you. Yeah, Masochist is a pretty Nirvana-esque one. I kind of like was going through this phase where I was doing sort of like a new wave Nirvana, sort of like keyboards, sort of like Devo with punk, more punk kind of thing put together. And so yeah, right now I've actually gone back and I'm kind of like started stripping everything back down, just a guitar and guy. So, and then and I also want to do an acoustic record of some of those songs too, so that way when I do go to play live, there's acoustic versions of the songs, and then that way it's like, this is what you'll hear if it's just me, and then band version, acoustic version. I think that's the way to go. I think that's what St. Vincent does, and a lot of the people who I admire, and it seems to be the way to go. But I'm not trying to make it like a career or anything like that. I'm just like, I write songs and I make this art, and I'm just archiving it publicly, you know? But anyways, everyone, thanks for hanging out with me today. See you guys tomorrow. I know this is like the 10th time I have said I'm going to quit. I'm quitting now. I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.